the press call say that they had spoken to the clerk. I think some discussions were going on, and so it was in the process of resolving what had transpired previously. Then this fresh decision in the middle of that discussion was now taken. Hence, some now say that it appears as though this is a plan to move towards restricting journalists from coverage, and then we get information from the forthcoming National Assembly television. Is this the case?
No. You see, let's get something clear. The Senate has a gallery, and the gallery is open to everybody, including the journalists. In fact, it's where some other journalists who don't want to stay either in the press core room, where there are televisions actually being live coverage of whatever is transpiring in the channel and the plenary. They actually do sit in the gallery. So I don't think the restriction is saying that they shouldn't be within the precinct of what is happening. It is just about the positioning within the chamber. And I think this is where the crisis, arose from the brief I got. And like I said, we're going to meet today, this afternoon. I've asked that the meeting be scheduled with the clerk so that we can understand the issues and then bring the press call in so that we can resolve this issue once and for all.
Okay, do we then assume that since it's just a question of positioning, the question of barring journalists should not arise and as such it will be addressed headlong?
When you say barring, you see, the journalists were not barred from the National Assembly. Perhaps it's just like saying within the precinct of the chamber, Nigerians have every right to understand what is happening, but can everybody be in the chamber? So I don't think the gallery is there, and the gallery itself has a particular number. If it is full, it's full. So I don't think the issue of barring or restriction is the issue here. It's just, I want to believe, an administrative, technical problem. And when we sit down and dialogue, we should be able to resolve that issue amicably. I don't think it has gotten to the issue of the Senate wanting to bar the journalists. No. There is nothing contemplated in that way, and there will be nothing that will be contemplated along that line.
Okay, that sounds encouraging because, I mean, it was the office that accredited them in the first instance. They knew the figure of those who were supposed to be there. They gave them the accreditation, so how come it's a problem now? But the good thing you said that that discussion is going to happen, and we look forward to sorting them out. We appreciate your talking to us this morning, Senator Sabi Abdullahi. So, looking at it for the way it's turning out now, there's a boycott. The press corps, cameraman, no visuals will come from the Senate. And he says, well, it's not a question of it's positioning as it is now. So do we have to expect, therefore, that those who have been barred from covering proceedings, they have to be called back?
They have to be recalled back because it's a legitimate right to be recalled back. The response of the Senate spokesman is reassuring. I think he has denied any attempt to restrict the press from carrying out their duties. That will be consistent with the norms of the civilized democratic tradition. Any attempt to prevent the press from carrying out their duties will be resisted, because we operate a democracy that should meet international standards. When we say a democracy, central to that democracy is the freedom of expression, including that of the media. The media has the right to inform, the right to criticize, the right to report proceedings. If there are aspects of inaccurate reporting, including what there are mechanisms under the law for the aggrieved members to seek redress, not to prevent the press, because that would not only be embarrassing to us locally as a people and as a country, but even internationally. So what manner of democracy is this? That will not allow the press to cover proceedings. What is anybody trying to hide? I think we have gone past all of this. And it's reassuring that the Senate spokesman has come out publicly that no such move is being contemplated. I want to believe him, and I want to believe that today everything will be done to resolve it.
Yeah, because we're wondering if it's a second installment of that restriction of restricting people or cameramen from covering proceedings, not the first and the second, and in the middle of discussion this one happened. One then wonders, does that mean that whatever decision the clerk is taking out, they are not aware of the first before the second? Well,
I want to believe that the clerk ought to be sensitized about the fundamentals of the democratic tradition. And I want to also believe that the clerk is not attempting to embarrass Nigeria by any such negative measure. From the denial by the spokesman, I want to believe that maybe the intention of the clerk is being misrepresented. But whatever it is, I think the clerk ought to apologize. Because even what has been reported and admitted so far is very, very embarrassing. I don't want to be a part of a country that will stifle opinions or even prevent freedom of expression.
Okay. All right, let's look at one more matter, because this is being talked about in several quarters now, about this forthcoming National Assembly TV, as it were. If that were the case, and it happens, and the National Assembly says, well, we're like every other media to get information from National Assembly TV, how will that work?
That will also be tantamount to censorship. There's nothing preventing the National Assembly TV from existing side by side with other, broadcast, stations. If that's what they want they have chosen to do. But that should not mean that, just like saying because we have NTA, being an official organ of the federal government, all other broadcast organizations should close shop. No, or that all other broadcast organizations should take information from the NTA. That clearly will also be unconstitutional. And I don't think that is being contemplated. And if it is being contemplated, they should share it right away. It's an open field. People, all kinds of opinions should be reflected in it under a democratic tradition. You don't prevent broadcast organizations, from reporting. If you have counter arguments, or you are entitled to put forward such counter arguments by contrary arguments and by your conduct, not by preventing duly licensed media organizations from carrying out their duty. Like somebody mentioned before, the National Assembly is a public forum. The activities of National Assembly is of paramount interest to the public. It's a public interest organization. Everything that has been done there is being funded from the public purse. The senators, the lawmakers are funded from the public purse. The National Assembly itself is being funded from the public purse. So we have the right to know. This is an informed democracy. Nothing should be done to stifle media opinion. That would be contrary to the democratic tradition. That would portray us as clearly uncivilized. And I don't think that is being contemplated. And before the close of business today, I want to see this policy reversed. And I want a clear-cut pronouncement from the leadership of the National Assembly that no such restriction is being contemplated. Because that would be contrary to not only to democratic norms, but all international instruments, including the UN Charter, the African Union Charter, and other international instruments. The press has a fundamental role to play in a democracy. And people should begin to see the press as partners in progress. The activities of government will not get to the public if the press is not there. So the press are partners in progress. And they should be treated as such. And what I'm saying is not peculiar to the National Assembly alone. Even the executive must not undertake any measures that will portray it as anti-democratic. The press should be encouraged, not intimidated.
Right.
Not even on questions of contempt. If you believe that the only thing is where the press is carrying out activities that will make the parliament unable to perform its statutory functions.
But there'll be laws that
and there are laws to guide that.
All right.
I think the measure should be ill-advised, and I think it should be withdrawn.
All right, Mr. Wahab Shittu, a legal practitioner, we appreciate your comment on this morning.
Thank you, Chamberlain.
And, let's see if we could take a comment or two. We've got Okay, I understand. We're completely out of time, but Emmanuel Njoku from Abuja, Philemon, and Femi Oke, we appreciate all your messages. Femi from London. Well, thank you all for watching. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Thank you. What a Monday it's been. I'm Maukbe Ogun. See you tomorrow, God willing.